Afternoon, everybody. You're all very welcome to the announcement of Ireland's Rugby World Cup squad for 2023. I know all the main characters here at the top table, but to kick things off, Ireland team manager Mick Kearney is going to announce the squad.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this very special media event to mark the announcement of Ireland's squad for Rugby World Cup 2023. An enormous body of work has been undertaken by the players and management over the course of the past weeks, months and indeed years in preparing for the challenge of this tournament. At this point, I would like to say that we particularly want to thank the players who have been part of the wider squad but have not made the final cut. They've helped enormously in preparing the squad and have the respect and appreciation of all. It's a hugely exciting time for the 33 players who have been selected, and I know that the Irish public, renowned both at home and across the world for their incredible support and dedication, will play a special role in this journey, giving the team that critical edge for our matches in Bordeaux, Nantes and Paris. After 70 days of pre-season, we now believe we are fully ready. So without further ado, I'm delighted to announce the Ireland squad for Rugby World Cup 2023. I'll start with the forwards. Ryan Baird, Finlay Bealham, Tyg Byrne, Jack Conan, Caelan Doris, Tyg Furlong, Ian Henderson, Rob Herring, Ronan Kelleher, David Kilcoyne, Jeremy Lockman, Joe McCarthy, Peter O'Mahony, Tom O'Toole, Andrew Porter, James Ryan, Dan Sheehan, Josh van der Fleer. And the backs, Bundy Aki, Ross Byrne, Craig Casey, Jack Crowley, Keith Earls, Jemison Gibson Park, Mac Hansen, Robbie Henshaw, Hugo Keenan, James Lowe, Stuart McCluskey, Conor Murray, Jimmy O'Brien, Gary Ringrose, and finally the captain, Johnny Sexton. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Mick. I'd just like to invite questions from the floor. Claire, if you'd like to start.
He hasn't made it, obviously, Andy. What can you tell us?
He hasn't, Claire. No, he's just had a scan just as we got off the plane now, and he'll be out for a spell of time. That won't be right, unfortunately, for Kean and for us. Certainly for the start of the competition, and we'll see how his rehab goes during it, and you never know towards the back end whether he could be a replacement or not.
How did you take it? Obviously, huge disappointing. You looking forward to a coach.
Oh well, he's devastating, isn't it? That's sport, that's life, that's certainly rugby. But Kean's big enough and old enough and experienced enough to have been through these type of things before. I remember in 2013 when we was on the Lions, he got injured pretty early in the first game. He had to fly home early, so he's experienced something like this, and he understands that these type of things happen. He's obviously devastated, as we are as a group for him.
The whole thing, is there some hope that he might make it?
Well, the prognosis at this is something between 5, 6, probably to 10 weeks. So how that rehab carries on is something that we'll keep a track of as we go.
What would the tightest and toughest squads be in this 33?
Well, the toughest thing, there's a couple of things. The toughest thing is that as a group of, say, 42, 43 players that's been together for 9 weeks over the summer, we don't just grow as rugby players, as a rugby team. We grow socially as well, and it's always tough to drop anyone out of that type of squad. And then when you look at what we normally do, when we pick a squad, say for a Six Nations or a tour or whatever, we normally pick it in the region of 38 players. So it's obvious that some quality, talented players are missing out, and it's a dream of theirs, isn't it, to play in a World Cup. So it's tough, but at the same time, we've got to do the right thing by the squad, and we have to pick a squad of 33 and make sure that we get the right balance. We're delighted with the squad. We think we've got an extremely gifted squad, and I also feel that the balance is right also.
Thanks, Tommy.
Andy, how close to where you want to be are you now after this period of the build-up a few weeks ago, and bearing in mind the blow of losing Kean? Are you happy with the preparations and where you are?
Yeah, we're happy with the preparations. We've had a great summer. for all sorts of reasons. We've got ourselves to a starting point. There's a lot of work that's got us to the start. Don't get me wrong, but we've got ourselves to the starting point. We're the lucky ones. We're the lucky ones that get to chase the dream for the wider group and for the nation in itself. So we can't get excited about that. For the first game against Romania, we're in the wrong job. So I think we're in a great place, ready to take this challenge head on.
Talk to us about the hookers situation, obviously with the ongoing injuries with Ronan and Dan. You're obviously happy with where they are 2 weeks out.
Yeah, we are. They're in good spirits. Ronan's could have been fit for this weekend, but giving him another week solidifies that. And then Dan is progressing very well, ahead of schedule, as it were. So we'll keep progressing. We'll keep analysing that and see how that goes over the next week or so.
And some of the decisions in the backs. Jake Stockdale obviously misses out.
Yeah.
Keith Earls goes. Stuart McCluskey goes. Can you maybe talk about those decisions a little?
Well, that's why I mentioned about the balance of the squad. For you guys, and rightly so, you would probably look at a squad and think that these guys are competing against different types of personnel than the reality, really. I mean, for the balance of the squad, for such a small squad group that goes to the World Cup, having versatility within that is pretty important. And the likes of Keith or the likes of Jimmy O'Brien, etc., they come into that category.
Last one then to me. Have you been paying any attention to the other teams and how they're going, or is everything that's happening in the other games in the last few weeks kind of irrelevant?
It's certainly not irrelevant.
Been in great form.
No, well, it's certainly not irrelevant. But like I said the other day at the press conference, you go back 5 or 6 weeks and New Zealand played South Africa, and it was the same type of score, wasn't it? And Fiji beating England and us having such a tough game against Samoa yesterday. It all sets us up for what's going to be an exciting tournament ahead.
Thanks. It's the last couple of minutes for online broadcast section, so Neil, if you'd like to.
Thank you. Andy, you've gone 18 forwards and 15 backs. A lot of other teams have gone with 19, 14. Are you confident, numbers-wise, that you have the versatility in the numbers, that you're not going to be shortchanged in forwards?
Confident? Of course I am. Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's about what we've got and the players that can play in different positions, and we've got a few of those across the forward pack. And
just one for Johnny. Just how disappointed are you for Keane and Blair? You've been in the trenches with a lot down the years.
Yeah, I only just found out literally 5 minutes ago. He's been through ups and downs in his career. He's obviously a very, very decorated player and a great player, and we're going to miss him. I'm gutted for him to miss this tournament. It's meant a lot to him, how he's prepared for it and how he's trained. He's shown that. So yeah, I'm gutted for him.
Andy, coaches often say this is the most difficult day making the squad announcement. As much as you can tell us, can you talk us through today how you told players and what you have to say to the players who aren't going to be there?
Well, it's obviously difficult because you're shattering someone's dream, but at the same time, I would hope that through all campaigns that you don't let bad news be a shock, as in you're constantly giving feedback to them to let them know where they're at, and players are not stupid. They've always got a sense of what's happening along the way. But what I would say is that the reason it is difficult for myself to certainly tell those 5 players the other day is because they made it very easy for myself. They're understanding. They're all team players. There's no selfishness whatsoever within all of the group. And if you have a look at everyone else announcing their squad so early, the reason that sometimes that happens is because they want to get to the 33 and they want to make sure that they push everyone else on so that there's no disruptions along the way. We have none of that ever because of the quality of people that we've got. They're team first people, and that's why it's hard to shatter the dreams, really.
Last 2 questions in this section, please. Kieran and then Ed.
Johnny, what will it mean to get captain Ireland?
Yeah, huge amount. If someone told me 4 years ago that we'd be back here captain, I would have taken it 100%. So there's been a lot put into this team by the management over the last 4 years, and to get their vote of confidence 4 years ago to do it, and with this as the end goal, it's been huge. So yeah, very proud for myself, my family, and just for the group that we have. It's a very privileged position to be in with such a good group.
Ed?
Johnny, how have you found the last few weeks not being able to be involved, and how do you look forward to being back out there?
Yeah, incredibly frustrating to have to sit and watch. That's obviously my own fault, but that's that's been life. I just had to do what I could for the team and try and learn by watching the guys and sort of contribute where I could. And it was particularly tough last weekend in the Aviva, but like I said, you live and learn, and time to move on now.
Do you have any regrets about what happened?
Of course, yeah. I've had my hands up since day one. I made a mistake in the heat of the moment. I was obviously very emotional on the day, not being part of what I had mapped out from the start of the year. Was playing my last game for Leinster in the Aviva, winning the European Cup. It's what I dreamt of, and then obviously to miss that, there's a lot of emotion that goes with it. And in that split second, when I went on to console my teammates, I made a remark, and I regretted it instantly. Make mistakes, you say sorry, hold your hands up, and that's what I've done.
Okay, thank you very much for the online broadcast section. If you just close your cameras, please, and we'll continue for newspapers.